Well, after 3 months of financial issues, moving problems, and just technical difficulties, I am now officially back to doing my movie reviews, and I gotta say, with this one, it's great to be back. What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to the return of my movie reviews. And I am coming back strong with the newest addition to Christopher Nolan's epic line of cool films, and this one being titled Interstellar. Now, this movie stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, and Michael Caine. And the premise to Interstellar takes place sometime into the future, in which, for some reason, Earth is not producing any food. We are losing our natural resources, and which will inevitably lead to the end of the human race. And when Matthew McConaughey's character accidentally runs into Michael Caine's character, who's working for NASA, he is informed that NASA has discovered a wormhole out in space which leads to a distant galaxy, and he wants Matthew McConaughey's character to leave his family and take these crew members and his ship out into this wormhole to see if these planets in another galaxy are habitable for humans to live on. And that's really all you need to know going in. Now, I have to tell you guys that I've been hearing a lot of really positive things, despite the fact that I have missed this film for about a week, and for the most part, everything that you've heard about it is true. This is unquestionably one of the best films I have seen this year, and probably in terms of visuals, it's one of the best looking films I have seen in a very, very long time. Christopher Nolan does it once again by taking an idea or premise and giving it an epic scale. I mean, just the overall look of space and what he has done with it is truly magnificent. I mean, a lot of people have compared this to Space Odyssey, and I can honestly say that as a visual experience and wanting to really get a feeling for what it's like to travel through space to other galaxies, this clearly blows that movie out of the water in every single way. Now, the performances also help this movie really exceed a level in which I don't think Nolan has really attempted much in his previous films, but I definitely think that he put much more effort into giving much more emotion amongst the characters in this particular film, especially between Matthew McConaughey's character and his daughter. There are a lot of really powerful emotional scenes, and I say the first third of this film, which kind of set up why this current situation in the movie is so important. And I also like how Nolan was able to use a lot of philosophical ideas and scientific premises to kind of establish how the rules of this movie work. There's one scene in particular which happens about halfway through where they explain that as we are in this second galaxy, if we go to this certain planet here, for every hour we're there, 7 years are going to go by. So, you know, I was thinking while I was coming out of the theater, I thought it was funny. Let's see, I go into this movie, and I'm this age, and by the time I come out, since this movie runs about 3 hours long, I ended up being 45, and I said, you know, to a couple people walking past me, I was like, wow, I look pretty cool for a 45-year-old, don't you think? And, you know, I also had a chance to see this in IMAX, and I absolutely suggest that if you do want to see this, see it in IMAX, because you really need to see this on the big screen in order to get the best experience. Now, that being said, this movie does have a number of problems which, for a Nolan film, I was a bit surprised that this was either added or that this could have been missed. The first problem I had was that we're never really told what is wrong with Earth. They just say that Earth is just not producing any food, but as far as I could tell, and I didn't get up for this movie, they never explain why. I really would have liked to understand why Earth isn't producing food. That way it makes the idea of having to leave Earth seem more important. They just kind of just blow it over saying, yeah, for whatever reason, Earth just isn't making any food. I also wasn't a fan that out of all the Nolan films that I have seen, this one focused on the least amount of characters. I mean, despite having a truly great cast, we only really seem to focus on 2 characters, and that's Matthew McConaughey's character and his daughter, in both the younger form and the older form, played by Jessica Chastain. The whole rest of the cast just seemed to be there to spout out dialogue and not really do much, which I was a bit disappointed with. And the one infamous problem that I'm sure a lot of people that I've heard over the internet and over YouTube that have reviewed this film have also said universally, and I have to agree, is I feel that the last 20 minutes should have been cut. The first two acts of this film are absolutely, in my opinion, mostly flawless, but when you get to the third act, the movie is presenting itself in a way in which the movie is going to go a certain direction, and if it had stayed going that direction, I think that this would have been a much better film, but because they added a really bizarre twist and a new element, it kind of messes up the rest of the film. It doesn't really hurt the film, but it kind of, it just kind of throws you off, and it just gives you a kind of sour taste in your mouth when you were leaving the theater. Still a really great film. I would absolutely suggest you see this in theaters in IMAX. In fact, just as a visual experience, I would suggest you see this at least multiple times like I plan on to. And if I had to give this movie a rating, it would have to be a B+. It's not Christopher Nolan's best film, but it is by no means his least favorite, but I will say that as a visual experience, it's probably one of the best visual looking films about space exploration you're going to see for a very long time. And with that, that is my movie review for Interstellar. And if you like this movie review, please feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to track me in my future movie reviews. And I really like to know, what were your thoughts on it? Did you like Interstellar, or did you find it a little bit disappointing, as I'm sure some people did? And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.